40 minutes. That's all you get for VARC. And in those 40 minutes, you have to read 4 passages on topics ranging from economics of income inequality to the philosophy of artificial intelligence to the biology of blind cave fish. Then answer 16 questions, most of which are not asking you what the passage said. They're asking you what the passage meant. Now here's what nobody tells you. In CAT 2025, students who scored 99 percentile in VARC did not attempt all 24 questions. Many of them didn't even attempt all 16 RC questions. They attempted fewer and they got almost all of them right. Meanwhile, students who rushed through all 4 passages, answered every question they could see and walked out feeling confident, they scored 70 percentile. The difference was not reading speed, it was not vocabulary, it was not even English proficiency. It was strategy. And today, I'm going to give you that strategy built entirely on what CAT 2025 revealed about how this exam actually works. By the end of this video, you will have a complete step-by-step RC framework that you can walk into the exam hall with, not a vague read more editorials, a real system. Let's go. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, every video on this channel is built on one principle: depth over decoration. No fluff, no recycle tips, only thing that can actually move your score. Today's video is the one most of you have been waiting for, the complete CAT RC strategy for 2026, analyzed from the ground up using the actual CAT 2025 paper across the 3 slots. Here is exactly what we are covering today. What CAT 2025 actually looked like, passage topics, question types, difficulty breakdown, slot by slot. The 3 biggest mistakes students make in RC and why they are costing you 10 plus marks. The 5-step RC framework that 99 percentilers use from the moment you open the section to the moment you submit. The 6 question types CAT uses and a specific attack strategy for each one. The elimination system, how to get to the right answer even when you are not sure. A reading habit plan that builds RC skills in 60 days. This is a long video. It is meant to be. Save it, come back to it, watch it in parts if you need to. But if you are serious about cracking RC, this is the only framework you will ever need. Hit like right now if you want more deep dives like this. It genuinely helps the channel and it helps me keep creating this content for free. Let's get into it. Before we talk strategy, let's talk reality. Because you can't build a strategy for an exam you haven't properly analyzed. CAT 2025 was conducted by IIM Kozhikode on November 30th, 2025 across 3 slots. The VRC section had 24 questions in 40 minutes, 16 from 4 RC passages and 8 from verbal ability. Now let's go slot by slot. Slot 1, moderate to difficult. The 4 RC passages in slot 1 covered income inequality, which was economics, electronic music, art and culture, mental insanity, psychology or philosophy, complex system, science. Overall verdict, moderate to difficult. The passages themselves were readable, medium length, but here's the critical finding from the actual paper analysis. The questions were heavily inferential. Students reported that even after reading the passages carefully, the answer options were close enough to cause genuine confusion. The comeback of parajumbles after a 1-year absence also caught many students off guard, disrupting their pre-planned VARC sequence. Good attempt in VARC for this slot, 17 to 18 questions, with around 70% accuracy being considered a strong performance. Slot 2, the hardest VARC of 2025. Slot 2 was widely reported as toughest VARC slot this year. The 4 passages covered astronomy and instrumentalization, which was science, cavefish, biology, literature, a book review, Arts, OpenAI and ChatGPT, Technology and Ethics. Expert analysis confirmed that Slot 2's VARC was significantly harder than CAT 2024, not because the passages were difficult to read, but because the questions demanded far greater precision and deeper comprehension. The options were subtler. The inference traps were more carefully laid. One important structural point in CAT 2025 across slots, RCA and VA questions were interspread, not grouped separately. This challenged students who had a fixed order strategy like do all VA first and then RC. Slot 3, moderate and manageable. Slot 3 was the most accessible VARC of the three. 4 passages, opinion about dams, environment or policy related, the Forest Act 1982, law and society, tribal behavior, anthropology and social science, AI and ethics, technology and philosophy. 2 of the 4 passages were considered easy reads, 2 were tougher, but even in the easier slots, the analysis confirmed 2 well-read passages with 100% question accuracy was worth more than 4 rushed passages with 50% accuracy. The 3 numbers you need to know. Number 1. 22 questions attempted with 70% accuracy is a very strong VARC attempt in CAT 2025. Number 2. 17 to 18 good attempts was the recommended target for 90 plus percentile in VARC. Number 3. 3 marks correct minus 1 mark wrong, meaning 1 careless wrong answer wipes out the benefit of 3 careful right ones. This strategy is everything. You're not playing a game of volume, you are playing a game of precision. Now let's talk about what's going wrong. The 3 biggest RC mistakes. I have seen thousands of students prepare for CAT, and I have seen the same 3 mistakes destroy VARC scores year after year. Let's address them head on. Mistake 1. Reading like you are in an English class. This is the most fundamental mistake. Students approach RC passages the way they read a novel or a textbook, slowly, word by word, trying to absorb every sentence, understanding every idea. That approach is completely wrong for CAT. In CAT RC, your job is not to understand the passage deeply. Your job is to understand it accurately enough to answer 4 specific questions. Those are 2 completely different objectives. Think of it this way. You're not a reader, you're a detective. You're looking for the author's main argument, the tone of their writing, the logical structure of their reasoning. Everything else is background noise. The moment you start reading a passage to enjoy it or master it, you have lost. You are now spending 12 minutes on a passage that should just take you 7. The mindset shift. Read with a mission. Your mission is to answer those 4 questions, nothing more. Mistake 2. Choosing passages by topic. Here's what students say. I always skip the philosophy passage or I can't do science passages. This is a trap. Now listen carefully. The topic of the passage is irrelevant to your ability to answer the questions. CAT is not testing your knowledge of philosophy or economics. It is testing whether you can understand an argument presented in English. A brilliantly written, clear passage on philosophy with straightforward question is easier than a confusing passage on cricket with tricky inference questions. So how do you choose passages? Not by topics, by these 3 signals. Signal 1. Language clarity. Scan the first 2 lines of the passage. Are the sentences structured clearly or are they dense and layered? Clear language, easier to comprehend. Signal 2. Question type. Glance at the 4 questions before committing. Are most of them factual, detail-based, or are they all inference and tone? More factual questions, more direct and faster to answer. Signal 3. Length. Shorter passages, less time needed to read without necessarily being easier on questions. Choose based on these signals, never based on topic. Mistake 3. Trusting memory over the passage. This is the mistake that kills accuracy. You read the passage, you feel like you understood it. You read the question, you immediately feel like you know the answer. You pick an option from memory and you get it wrong. This happens because CAT options are expertly designed to appeal to partial understanding. They take a real idea from the passage and twist it slightly, take it broader, narrower, or more extreme or more positive than the author actually intended. The rule without exception. For every single question, go back to the relevant section of the passage and verify. Never answer from memory. And yes, it takes time. That's why passage selection matters. That's why you can't attempt all 4 questions at the same pace. Depth over breadth. Always. Now that we know what not to do, let's build the system. This is the framework. Every RC passage you attempt in mocks, in practice, or in exam goes through these 5 steps in this exact order. Step 1. The 2-minute section scan. The moment your VARC section begins, do not start reading the first passage. Open the section and spend 2 minutes doing a rapid scan. Here's what you are doing in those 2 minutes. Scan each passage opening line and closing line. This gives you a rough sense of the topic and the author's stance. Glance at each set of 4 questions. You are identifying, are these questions most factual, inferential, or tone-based? This tells you how much precision each passage will demand. Tag each passage mentally or using the on-screen mark button in the CAT interface as easy, maybe, or skip. Easy would be familiar language, clear structure, questions that seem answerable at first glance. Maybe dense question or tricky questions, attempt second if time permits. Skip, clearly abstract, difficult language, and all 4 questions are inference heavy. This 2-minute investment pays back enormously. You walk into every passage with a plan instead of walking in blind. You will never waste 10 minutes on a passage you should have skipped because you made that decision before starting. Step 2. Active reading with structure mapping. Once you have selected your passage, read it, but not passively. Active reading means you're doing 3 things simultaneously as you move through the passage. Thing 1. Track the main argument. Every passage has one central claim the author is making. Find it. It's usually in the first paragraph or the last paragraph, sometimes both. Note it in your head. The author is arguing that income inequality has both costs and benefits, and the net effect depends on the system. Thing 2. Map the structure. As you move from paragraph to paragraph, note the function of each. Is this paragraph introducing a claim, providing evidence, presenting a counter-argument, drawing a conclusion? Understanding structure helps you locate information for specific questions in seconds. Thing 3. Identify the tone. Is the author being analytical, critical, appreciative, ambivalent? Lock in the tone early because at least one question will test it. Time target. 2.5 to 3 minutes of reading, no more. If you are still reading at 4 minutes, you are reading too slowly or rereading. Trust your first read. The goal is not perfect comprehension. The goal is comprehension that is accurate enough to answer the questions and go back to the passage to verify if needed. Step 3. Question sequence. After reading, look at all 4 questions before answering any of them. Then answer them in this order. First, factual or detailed questions. These are the fastest. The answer is stated directly in the passage. You just need to locate it. Answer these first and bank the marks. Second, main idea and title question. You have just read the passage, so the main argument is fresh in your mind. Strike while the iron is hot. Third, tone questions. You identify tone during reading. These should be quick. Cross-reference against your 3-category mental model, positive, negative, or neutral. And last, inference questions. These take the most time and thought. Tackle them after you have secured the easy marks. If you are running short on time, these are the questions to either go with your best elimination answer or skip entirely. Why does this order matter? Because answering easier questions first builds your understanding of the passage further, making even the inference questions easier when you get to them. It's a momentum building sequence. Step 4. The elimination system. This is the single most important skill in RC and the most underrated. Here's the truth. In CAT RC, it is almost always easier to find the wrong options than to find the right ones. The correct answer is often hedged, nuanced, and carefully worded, hard to identify with confidence. But the wrong options almost always have at least one visible flaw. Your job is to find those flaws. Rule 1. Eliminate extremes. Any option that uses words like always, never, all, none, completely, impossible, or only is almost certainly wrong. CAT authors write in shade of grey. Extreme options are traps for students who read partially and over-infer. Rule 2. Eliminate out of scope. If an option introduces information, ideas, or claims that are not mentioned or implied anywhere in the passage, eliminate it immediately. CAT RC answers must be supported from the text. Outside knowledge is not relevant and not safe to use. Rule 3. Eliminate distortions. Some options take a real idea from the passage and twist it, making it slightly broader, slightly more negative, or slightly exaggerated. Ask yourself, did the author actually say this? Or did the author say something close to this? Close is not correct. Rule 4. Eliminate tone mismatches. If the passage is written with a critical tone and option says the author is celebratory, eliminate it. Regardless of how tempting the content sounds, the tone and content must both align. After applying these 4 filters, you are typically left with one clearly correct option or 2 options that require a deeper reread. If it comes down to 2, go back to the passage, find the specific line that are relevant. Do not rely on memory for the final call. Step 5. The 2-minute rule and letting go. Now here is the most psychologically difficult part of RC strategy and the most important. Set a 2-minute rule for stuck questions. If you have been on a single question for more than 2 minutes and you cannot eliminate down to one confident answer, mark your best guess from the remaining option and move on. Do not linger. Here's why it matters mathematically. And I am saying mathematically, so it must matter. Say you spend 4 minutes on one stuck question and eventually guess wrong. You have spent 4 minutes to earn 1 negative mark. In those same 4 minutes, you could have answered 2 factual questions from the next passage and earned 6+ marks. That's a 7-mark difference from one decision. CAT rewards decisiveness and penalizes paralysis. The students who score 99 percentile are not smarter than you on individual questions. They are better at leaving questions, cutting losses, moving forward, and using their remaining time optimally. Practice this in every mock you take. Deliberately set a timer for each question. When the timer hits 2 minutes and you are stuck, best guess, move on, train yourself to let go. CAT RC questions fall into 6 categories. Every question you face is one of these. Know them cold. Type 1. Main idea, central theme. The question asks, the passage primarily discusses, or which of the following best captures the main point. Your attack plan? Look for an option that is neither too broad nor too narrow. The correct answer covers the whole passage, not just one paragraph. Options that mention only one aspect of a multi-aspect passage are wrong. Options that go beyond what the passage discusses are also wrong. The main idea answer is almost always a balanced, moderate statement. Watch out for options that are true based on the passage but only addresses a small part of it. Tempting, but wrong. Type 2. Factual details questions. The question asks, according to the passage or the author states that. Your attack plan? These are your fastest marks. Go directly back to the passage, locate the relevant paragraph and verify. Do not answer from memory. The correct options will be a paraphrase, not a word-for-word copy of what the passage says. If an option uses the exact words of the passage, be suspicious. CAT often uses familiar phrases to disguise wrong answers. Watch out for options that are almost correct but change one small detail, a number, a qualifier, or a direction of casualty. Type 3, the inference questions. The question asks, it can be inferred from the passage that, or the author would most likely agree that. Your attack plan. These are the most dangerous questions. These are two types. Type 1. True inference. The answer is genuinely unstated but logically follows from the passage. Look for what must be true given what the author said, not what might be true, not what seems reasonable. Type B. Disguised fact restatement. The answer is actually stated in the passage, just paraphrased. Always check whether the inference is actually already in the text. For both types, apply your elimination rule. Any option that requires your knowledge outside the passage is wrong. Any option that goes further than the passage logically supports is wrong. Watch out for reasonable inference that go one step too far. The correct inference is the most conservative one that the passage directly supports. Type 4. Tone and attitude questions. The author asks, the author's tone can be best described as, or the author's attitude towards X is. Your attack plan. Use your 3-category system from the start of your reading, positive, negative or neutral. First eliminate the wrong category entirely, then within the remaining options look for the word that best captures the degree of the tone, not just direction. The difference between skeptical and dismissive or appreciative and reverent is a degree difference, and CAT tests this precision regularly. Watch out for options that correctly identify the direction of tone but overstate the intensity. Vitriolic and mildly critical are both negative, but one is far stronger. Match the option to the actual strength of the author's language. Type 5. The title questions. The question asks, which of the following would be the most appropriate title for this passage? Your attack plan. The correct title captures the main idea of the passage, neither too specific to one section nor too broad to be meaningful. Test each title option by asking, if I read only this title, would I expect a passage that covers all the main theme that I just read? If yes, it's likely correct. Watch out for titles that are intriguing but cover only one aspect of the passage. CAT loves to offer a specific interesting title that refers to a paragraph or an example, not the whole argument. Type 6. Critical reasoning, strength and weaken. The question asks, which of the following, if true, would most strengthen or weaken the author's argument? Or which statement, if true, provides the best support for? Your attack plan. This is the most logic-intensive type and has been growing in frequency with each CAT iteration. CAT 2025 included more of these critical reasoning elements in RC questions than previous years. For strengthened questions, find the option that makes the author's central claim more certain or better supported. For weakened question, find the option that introduces a real counter-argument or undermines the author's key assumption. Watch out for options that are relevant to the topic but don't actually affect the specific argument being made. Adjacent doesn't mean impactful. Target the core assumption of the argument, not its periphery. The reading habit plan, 60 days to RC fluency. Now here's an uncomfortable truth. All the strategy in the world won't help you if your base reading speed is below 200 words per minute, or if dense academic language consistently confuses you. The strategy we just covered works best for students who already read with comfort and speed. If that's not you yet, this 60-day plan is your foundation. Target reading speed for CAT should be 250 to 300 words per minute with strong comprehension. CAT passages are typically 400 to 600 words. At 250 words per minute, you read the passage in under 2.5 minutes. That leaves you 5+ minutes for 4 questions, a comfortable pace. Day 1 to 20, Foundation. Build comfort with dense language. Read 1 article per day from these sources, The Hindu or Indian Express. Read the editorials for contemporary issues. Aeon Essays. This is the single most CAT relevant online resource available. The writing style, the passage length, and topic range mirrors CAT RC almost exactly. The Economist for economics, business, and global affair passages. Focus on comprehension first. Read slowly. After each article, summarize the main argument in 2 sentences. This builds the central idea extraction skill that is critical for RC. Day 21 to 40, Speed Layer, add time pressure. Now introduce timed reading. Set a 3-minute timer for each article or passage. Your goal is to complete the reading within that time and still be able to summarize it accurately. This is also the phase where you start practicing RC from previous CAT papers, CAT 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, using the 5-step framework we covered. 2 RC passages per day, fully timed. Day 41 to 60, full integration, mock level practice. 1 full VARC section per day, 40 minutes, all 24 questions, exam conditions. After every attempt, conduct a mandatory review. Which passage did you select first and was that the right choice? Which question did you answer from memory instead of going back to verify? Which wrong answer were caused by extreme options, out of scope options or distortion? What was the total time per passage? The review is non-negotiable. Mocks without review are wasted hours. The insight comes from the analysis, not the attempts. CAT is a 2-hour exam. VARC is the first section. Your brain must be sharp at minute 1, but it also must be sharp at minute 38. Students who read for only 15 minutes a day in preparation find that their focus drops significantly in the second half of VARC section, leading to careless mistakes in the last 2 passages. Build sessions of 40 to 50 continuous minutes of reading regularly, not for the content, for the mental endurance. Finally, the 40-minute time split. Here is the recommended time split for the 40 minutes VARC section on exam day. Minute 0 to 2, section scan. Tag all 4 passages as easy, maybe, skip. Identify your attack order. Minute 2 to 10, passage 1, easy. 3 minutes reading plus 5 minutes answering. Target 4 out of 4 questions correct. Minute 10 to 18, passage 2, easy or maybe. Same allocation. Minute 18 to 28, VA questions, para-jumbles, para-summary, odd sentence out. These 8 questions, if practiced well, can be answered more quickly than RC questions with comparable accuracy. VA TITA questions carry no negative marking. Attempt all of them. Minute 28 to 37, passage 3, maybe. 3-minute reading plus 6-minute answering. Minute 37 to 40, buffer plus skip passage decision. If you have a passage that you are going to skip, tagged, use these 3 minutes to attempt 1 or 2 of its easier looking questions only. Do not try to read and answer all 4 in 3 minutes. The exam day mindset. One final thing, and this might be the most important thing in this entire video. On exam day, you will face a passage you cannot understand. This is not a prediction, this is a guarantee. Every single CAT paper has at least one passage that is dense, abstract, or difficult to follow, regardless of how well you have prepared. This year, it was the tribal art passage in slot 2. Last year, it was postmodern literature. When the passage appears in front of you, do not panic. Do not try to power through. Do not spend 4 minutes trying to decode it out of pride. Look at it for 60 seconds. If it isn't opening up, tag it, skip, and move on. That is not a failure. That is strategy. The student who got 99 percentile in that slot skipped that passage. They scored perfectly on the other 3. You do not need to be perfect across all 4 passages. You need to be perfect on the right 3. CAT is not an endurance test for the ego. It is a precision test for your judgment. And the best judgment calls you'll ever make in that exam hall might be the decision to skip a passage that would have wasted 10 minutes and cost you marks. Trust the framework, trust your preparation, and trust yourself enough to make the smart call, even when it's uncomfortable. Let me leave you with one thought. Every student who walks into the CAT exam hall has prepared. They have read editorials, they have done mocks, they have watched videos, they know the syllabus. But most of them walk in with a vague plan. They'll see how it goes. They'll adjust based on the paper. They'll give it their best. And that's exactly where they lose. The students who win, the ones who crack 99 percentile, who get the IM calls, who transform their careers, they don't go in hoping for the best. They go in with a framework, so deeply practiced that it becomes instinct. They scan the sections before reading anything. They choose passages based by language and question type, not topics. They read actively and structure map as they go. They sequence the questions smartly. They eliminate before they select. They let go of stuck questions without guilt. And they protect their mental bandwidth for the questions that matter. That system is now yours. You've watched this video, you have taken notes, you know the framework. Now go execute. If this video helped you, like it right now. It tells me this content is worth making and it helps more CAT aspirants find it. Subscribe if you haven't, because the next video in this series is the Para Jumbles Masterclass, and it will completely change how you approach VA. Drop a comment below what was the single biggest insight you got from this video. I read every single comment and I build future videos based on what you tell me. And remember, IM is not out of reach. It never was. The only thing standing between you and that call letter is a strategy, consistently applied. You've got the strategy now. Go get the call.